I'm going to share with you exactly how I got a local clinic in Scottsdale, Arizona, over 300 leads for less than $30 each. After 3 months of working with this client, he was able to move his practice into a bigger building that was their own. And after 5 months, he actually asked us to pause the ads because right now he's on the hunt to find a MedSpa communications agency to help him manage the lead volume. All right, so the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is our campaign structure. So going to the campaigns, you can see here. Don't mind this one. This one we ended up not using for much time, but these are the two main ones. So we had a PMAX and a search campaign, and the reason for that is just because the nature of our service. It is, weight loss is something that people are also online actively searching for a solution. And then there's the group of people who, might know that they want to or need to lose weight, but aren't actively looking for a solution. So we can use search themes in our PMAX to kind of, pop up on display in YouTube for people who might need it or want it, but aren't actively looking for a solution. So again, because of the nature of our service, we wanted to encompass both and really see, which one took off the most. And as you can see, I mean, right now, this $5 spend was, changed because we paused it. We didn't actually have this split for the majority of the ads. But as you can see, there is a large difference in how we spent, and I will tell you why. So for our situation, right, we wanted to use search as almost an anchor and a foundation. So in a Performance Max campaign, you can't see certain demographics. Like I'm going to go over here and go to when and where ads showed. So this right here is something that you see in a search campaign, right? When ads showed, the devices, and then another thing, if I go down here to go to the audiences, this isn't set up to be optimal right now for actually, looking at an account, but just for an example, you can't see the age, gender, or household income for a PMAX campaign. So what we wanted to do is at the start, we had a split budget between the PMAX and the search. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to see, okay, let's use this as an anchor and let's see, who is actually looking into our ads. And that's what's going to help us increase and get better over time and kind of crack the code, because now we can find our actual, avatar. So after some time, we realized that, okay, so the person who is looking up our stuff the most, or the person who's, driving all of our clicks, or the person who's landing on our page the most, is a 25 to 45-year-old woman, in the valley in Arizona, with a household income range of 10 to 40%. So once we figured that out inside the search campaign based on what I just showed you, that was how we used that avatar to shape the images that we used in our ads. We wanted to use, women of that demographic, so we were speaking exactly to our target audience. We also used, wording and just overall website copy and even images on our website to appeal to that person, to be more intentional to our avatar. So as you can see here, in the middle of July, our cost per conversion really dropped, and then our conversions really went up. And so as you can see here, from about middle of May, right, to about the middle of June to the middle of July, so it took us about 2 months to really have a fair, say in how we could crack this code. So again, just learning those demographics of our target audience helped us shape everything. And then I don't want to go into the actual campaigns because there's a lot of sensitive and client information, and I don't want to have a bunch of, blurs everywhere, because that's visually pretty unappealing. But what we did is, for our search and our PMAX, they are relatively the same. So for each ad group in the search, right, we had a semaglutide, tirzepatide, and then a general. And so each of those ad groups had 2 ads, and then the same thing in the PMAX, we just had 2 asset groups for each. So the reason for having these 2 ads, or for the PMAX, the 2 asset groups, is we wanted to test 2 different types of copy. So anytime that you're making an ad on Google Ads, I don't just suggest just having just random copy in each ad, but use the ads to have like a group of copy that focuses one category. So an example of exactly what we did here is we had one ad that focused, the service, right? So for semaglutide, one of our ads was basically all catered to semaglutide in Phoenix, or semaglutide in Scottsdale, right? So it was more local and it was keyword focused. And then our next one that we had was not as much of the same, but since this one was still tailored to the semaglutide, this was more like overall weight loss, so like result-based copy, and then also, the service. So it was more like lose weight and feel better with semaglutide. Like, that's just an example, right? Or like shed pounds, not dollars with our, we had an intro offer for the first month for semaglutide, right? So stuff like that. And then an example of what we had inside the overall, general weight loss was purely just result based, right? So like, copy based on like having people feel more confident, or like we even had, some ads that were just targeting women because we knew our demographics. So that kind of helped us, weed it out and just make sure that all of our ads and ad copy and images were, related directly to that person. So that was really when we started to crack the code, is once we found out who our avatar was and we started hyper tailoring everything to speaking directly to that avatar, is when we saw a massive jump in conversions and a huge drop in the cost per conversion. So I know I didn't share a ton here on the screen. There's just a lot of sensitive information. All of our images have our client's logo on them. A lot of our ads mention, the client's name. So I didn't want to get into that, but this is basically how I structure all of my, campaigns. So if you watch more of my videos, you're going to see more about, and you're going to hear me talking more about finding your actual avatar from search demographic metrics, and then going all in on that, on everything I mentioned. So again, being more intentional with your ads is how we were able to crack the code for this client, and then actually ended up pausing his ads because he's on the hunt to find a med spa communication agency to help him handle all the leads. So I hope you're able to get some value from this, and I'll talk to you guys soon.